All right, so today we're going to work on the study guide together so that we can be ready for our math test tomorrow. Tomorrow will be our first math test, our Unit 1 math test. So what I always like to do, Logan, this is a really good listening time. What I always like to do is I like to go over the study guide first so that you can be familiar with what the test is going to look like, and it gives you a chance to practice it later. Right now, Levi, you shouldn't be doing anything to your study guide. This is not a time for you to be writing. Right now is a time for you just to be listening so that you can understand what you're supposed to do for it. When we do a study guide here in class, I actually like to go over it step by step, each one together, so that we can make sure that we have all the correct answers in the correct places. Okay? That way, when you go to look at it later tonight for homework, because your homework tonight will be to look it over, when you look at it later tonight for homework, I know you have the correct answers for the study guide so that it can help you get the correct answers for the test. And just a reminder, you can always click up at the very top of your screen to view your instructions, okay? And a lot of the time, like 99.9999999 million times, you will have instructions that you can listen to that will tell you what you're going to be doing. So, I'm going to listen to today's instructions so that we know what we're going to do. Everyday Math Unit 1 Study Guide. This is a study guide for the Unit 1 test in Everyday Math. Working through this study guide will help you get ready for the test. Today, we will work on this study guide together. Use the pencil or pen to write your answers. You might want to use the label tool to type your written answers for questions 4 and 7. On each page, tap the caption to hear the question read out loud. When you are done, tap the draft button to save your work so that you can go back and look at it later. This way, you can study for the test when you are at home. Okay, so there's some different things that we're going to do with it today. So those of you that are coming in, friends that are coming in, make sure you have the study guide up on Seesaw on your iPad too as we go through this together. We're going to use the pencil or pen for most of it, but there are some answers where we actually have to write out in words what our answer is. Then we can use our text tool or our label tool to do that part, okay? But we will do mostly pencil or pen writing on this. So, Logan, before we get started, did you have a question?
No.
Okay. Levi, do you have a question before we get started?
Can we use the typing tool?
You can use the typing tool for the whole time if you prefer to.
Yeah.
That's your choice. That's how you want to put it on there is perfectly fine, okay? Now, also remember too, almost every single time also, when I'm making these things and there's a lot of reading, I will make sure that each page has something that you can listen to. I take the time to record every single page, so if you tap the caption down on the right-hand side, it will read it to you. I'll do it for study guides, I'll do it for tests, I'll do it for everything, okay? Because that way you can hear it out loud. Sometimes, I don't know about you, sometimes it's easier for me to do something if I'm listening to it out loud than if I'm trying to read it myself. So whenever you see that caption down in the bottom left-hand corner that has like a blue circle around it, know that you can tap there and listen to something. Yes, Gwen, what's your question before we get started?
So, we're going to finish it here at school. Then we're going to tap the draft button. Then later, or when we go home, we're going to check and see if it is. If it is, then we can go back in and tap the green.
Well, yes, and that's great. I'm glad actually that you brought that up because I was going to go over that again at the end of the lesson, but I'm glad you heard that part of the directions. When we are done with this today, we are not going to green check it and send it. We're going to actually save it as a draft by tapping the orange check because I want you tonight to go back home and look through it again as part of your homework so that your brain is really, really ready for tomorrow's math test. There's a lot of questions on the test. It'll take some time. I want to make sure your brain is really ready for it before you tap the green check to send it to me. Okay? Okay. Question, Kaden.
Yeah, after you're done checking it, do you have to hit the green check?
I'll talk about that when we get to the very end. I'll tell you what I'm expecting for homework tonight. Okay? Okay. All right, so we don't need to worry about putting our name at the top. That's just there because that's what it looks like on the page when it's a piece of paper. So we don't need to worry about putting the name at the top because it's us. It's in your own Seesaw, so yours is yours. I don't have to worry about your paper. So,
But for number 1, we need to count by ones, filling in the missing numbers. So for the first one, we have 30, and then we have a couple of blanks, and then we have 33, and then we have another blank. So we have 30, 2 blanks, 33, and then another blank. So what am I going to put in the first blank? Any takers? What am I going to put in the first blank there, Jose?
31.
31. So I'm going to use my pencil or my pen. Ooh, I'm going to make that a little bit darker so you can see it better. And I'm going to write in the number 31. Okay, so let me erase that. Make this a little bit brighter and purplier. There we go. Let me change it. And I'm going to write 31. After 31 comes what, Valerie? 32. It doesn't look very purple on the screen. After 32 comes 33. And the last number that we need to fill in the blank is what, Jamie?
33.
We have 30, 31, 32, 33 that I need to put in. 34. Right, 34. Okay. Good. Now, going down to the next row. Kinsley, you should be doing this with your iPad, honey. I need you to sit up and do it. You're working on the study guide with us. I need you to sit up to do it. All right, now, for part B, you should be able to have zoom into the corner, and you should have seesaw on your screen at the same time. We have 86, 87, we have a blank, and then 89, and then we have another blank. So if I'm counting by ones, 86, 87, what comes next, Gwen?
88.
88, very good. So fill in 88. And then we have 89. And what comes after 89? Jake, what comes after 89? Hey, Jake, at home, what comes after 89?
90.
90. Thank you very much, sir. 90. Very good. Okay. Make sure you get those in. And then last but not least, ooh, now we're in the 100s number, but don't fret. We can do it. No worries.
Hopefully.
125, 126. I'm counting by ones, so after that, Angelina would come what? 120. 127, very good. It's a 1, a 2, and a 7. 127. After 127 comes what? Keaton.
128.
Very good. 128. A 1, a 2, and an 8. It's 128. 125, 126, 127, 128. And the last number we need is what, Jose?
The 129.
129. A 1, a 2, and then a 9. Okay. Thumbs up if you have this slide done. Okay, fantastic. Now, you're going to tap over to the side where it says slide number 2. Tap on slide 2. Here we go. One of the things that we practiced in our Unit 1 was some money. Now, you have 5 dimes. Before we even answer this question, I'm going to put off to the side, and I think it would probably be a good idea for you to do this also somewhere off to the side on your study guide. How much does 1 dime equal? How much does 1 dime equal? Levi, how much does 1 dime equal?
10.
10. So I'm just going to put a circle with a D in it to show me that it's a dime. Remember, that's how we draw a dime. And I'm going to put equals. So, Caden, it would be a good idea for you to be doing this right now. 10 cents. Okay? A dime equals 10 cents. That's supposed to be a cent sign. It's like a C with a little line through it. That will help me remember, as I'm doing my counting, that I need to be counting dimes by tens. Caden, it would be probably a good idea if you get your stylus out. You guys should be writing with your styluses.
I am.
Yep, that's why they're there, so you can write with your styluses. Get your stylus out. Thank you. It's better than trying to use your little fingers because fingers don't make things very neat all the time. All right, so if I'm counting dimes, it should already be in your supply bag. Do you need to get it out of your backpack, Levi?
Yeah.
Okay, Levi, that's one of those things that should already be unpacked every morning. Go. We need to make sure we have everything we need every single morning when we get started. If I'm counting dimes and they are each 10 and I have 5 of them, I am counting. Let's count them together by tens. Ready? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So how many cents do I have? Jose? I have 50 cents. Right. Now the cent sign was already made for me here, so I just need to write the number 50. I have 50 cents. Okay? 50 cents. And then when you finish with that, you can click on slide number 3. Boom. We're going to fill in some missing numbers. Here's a part of a number line. Not all of the numbers are there. Some of the numbers are there. So we need to fill in what's missing. It starts with the number 57. Do I want to start all the way at number 1 to start counting?
No.
Nope. I just want to start with the number 57. If I need to, I can kind of go back in my head a little bit, like start like 55, 56, 57. But I'm going to look, see here. I see there's 2 blanks and then 60. And then I see 1, 2, 3 blanks and then 64. So I'm thinking it's probably counting by ones too. I should always double check to make sure I can figure out what pattern it is that I'm counting. I think this one's counting by ones. So if I start with 57 and I want to fill in the blanks for the next number, what's the next number that I should have, Valerie, on my number line?
58.
58. Very good. So I'm going to write in here a 5 and an 8 for 58. Okay, 57, 58. What comes after that? Alina, you're there. Alina, what comes after 58?
59.
59. Fantastic, Alina. Thank you. All right, I'm writing a 5 and a 9 for 59. So I have 57, 58, 59, 60. They give me the number 60. What's the next number that's missing that I should fill in, Levi?
61.
61. Fantastic, Levi. 61. A 6 and then a 1. After 61, what number should I put in there that's missing? Jamie. 62. Thank you. A 6 and a 2 for 62. 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62. Oh, now I'm missing what number, Zayden?
63.
63. A 6. And then a 3. Then they give me the number 64. And the last number that I should have in the blanks should be what number, Logan?
65.
65. Now, you know what I always like to do? 6 and then 5. I always like to go back and double check. When I fill in missing numbers, either in a number grid or on a number line or anywhere really, and I know they're supposed to be in a pattern or an order, I always like to go back and check the numbers that are there and count them out loud to make sure I actually have it correct. Because sometimes, believe it or not, even Mrs. Tucker makes mistakes. It's always a good idea to double check it. So when I count this should be in the correct order. 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65. Sounds pretty good to me, right? Okay, fantastic. Bless you, Gwen. All right, when you're ready, go ahead and click on number 4 slide. Ooh, it's got really, really tiny. It's gotten tiny because there's a lot to number 4. This is where we might have to use the text tool to type our answer. Yes, you will have to put an answer into words. This is why here in the classroom we've been practicing that over and 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 over every single day when we do spring math, right? Okay. But the first thing we need to do for 4A, it tells us we have to write the number 5 in the correct place on the number line. Well, I only see a 0, And I only see an 8, but I see a little lines here. So I'm going to see if I count the little lines after 0, if I start counting, if there's enough little lines that I can get to number 8, okay? So here's 0, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, that kind of worked, didn't it? Okay, good. So now I know that I'm just going by ones to fill it in. So now, what do I need to do to be able to find where the number 5 goes on that number line? Any guesses? Zayden, what do you think? What should I do to figure out where the number 5 goes?
The fifth line.
So I should count 5 lines? Should I count starting at 0 or should I count the first blank line?
0.
Okay, I'm going to start at 0 and then I should start counting at the first blank line, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I should be able to write the number 5. Oh, hey, look at that. That works with my pen just like that. That is fantastic right there. Okay. So I'm putting in the number 5 where it's missing on the number line. Now, this is where I have to explain how I got my answer. So what did I do? How did I just get the answer that I had? Did I just go, boom? Oh, that looks like a good place for a number 5. How did I just get the answer that I had? Gwen, what did I do?
You counted 0 to, you counted the little lines until you got to this.
Right, I started at the number 0, right? And then I counted the blank lines until I got to number 5. Okay, so now, this is where I'm going to go over and I'm going to tap my text button. Because that's a lot of writing. That might be hard for me to write in my lines. So this is where I'm going to tap my text button.
Okay.
And I'm actually going to type my answer. And I'm going to say, I started at 0. And there are numbers on your text too. And you'll do this in a second too. I'm going to make sure that you take the time to type this in a second. I started at 0. Then I counted the blank lines until I got to 5.
That's a lot of writing, Miss Tucker.
It is a lot of writing, but guess what? This is just a tiny little wee bit of writing compared to what we're going to have to do. So get ready for some writing. So now I'm going to make this, I got to tap my hand so that I can stretch this out a bit. And I'm going to make it bigger. I'm going to drag it down to this spot because that's where it needs to be. I'm going to make it nice and big though. Whoop! No, we're not recording. We're not recording. Those of you that are tapping that microphone and you're recording, no. This is a writing answer. So recording is not a choice for this one. You have to be used to writing your answers in math class. It is something that you will have to do in 3rd grade, so we're practicing it now. I started at 0, then I counted the black lines until I got to 5. You can type this right now into your text box in Seesaw, and then put it down in that spot too. I'm going to lock it in place. There we go. I started at 0, then I counted the blank lines until I got to 5. I'll try to make this a little bigger. Oh, it won't let me click on it and make it any bigger, sorry.
Is that a O or a circle?
This is a 0.
Oh.
This is a 0, which you can find the numbers on your keyboard. I started at 0. Then I counted the blank lines until I got to 5. Take the time to type this in so that you're ready for this kind of answer tomorrow. I started at 0. Then I counted the blank lines until I got to 5. Then, So see where I have my punctuation in mind? And you can spell the words correctly too, because I got it right there on the board. So let's make yours look exactly like mine does. I should never, ever, ever be a lowercase letter when it's by itself. It should always, 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 and forever be capital. So fix that whole thing, please, Kaden. Here in the classroom, when you think you have that part finished, just raise your hand before you move on, because I want to make sure we have the answer correct. I would hate for you to go away and not have the answer correct on your study guide, because our study guide will be what we study. I started at 0, then I counted the blank lines until I got to 5. Always, always, always make sure the I by itself is a capital I. Plus it's the beginning of a sentence, so it should be a capital 2. I started at 0, then I counted the blank lines. I keep saying the black lines. The blank lines until I got to 5. Then I counted the blank lines. I don't have a period after every word. We don't need to put periods after every word, Jamie. You only put a period at the end of the sentence. Okay? Don't put periods after every word. You make yours look exactly like mine on the screen.
Miss, how good is that? Oh.
To get a capital I, you have to press the arrow. Tap the I. Okay? Now, I put the word I in there for you. Now you put started at 0. Then I counted the blank lines until I got to 5. Fantastic. You can tap on number 6 and just sit tight for a second. Or number 5 and then sit tight for a second.
Now, one more done.
Valerie? Okay, good. Now go to your number 5. There you go. Fantastic. Okay, go to your number 5. Nice job. You should be finishing up that sentence. Okay, tap on your 5 slide.
How did it get smaller?
If you want to make it longer, you can pull the side. It makes it longer. Okay. Okay, you're good. Put it in place though, thank you. And then tap your 5 slide. Once you put it in place, you can tap your 5 slide.
I didn't. Been missing numbers.
Just sit tight for a second. Okay, put in the number 5.
Are we gonna write it?
Okay, I'm gonna have you go back and finish this in a little bit, okay? Okay, Logan, put it in place. Okay, we're gonna go move on to slide number 5. So Jamie, before we put yours in a draft, I'll have you go back and finish that part. We need to move on to number 5. Okay, so part of what we were learning in Unit 1 was number grid puzzles and filling in missing numbers. Before we fill in the missing numbers, let's see if we can remember. When we go sideways, left to right on a number grid, Levi, sitting down. When we go sideways, left to right on a number grid, what do we count by? Who can tell me? Logan.
1.
Yeah, we count by ones. So, Kaden, if I'm just going across the rows on my number grid, I'm counting by ones. When I go up and down the columns in my number grids, Levi, what am I counting by?
You count them by 1.
No. So I want you to listen and pay attention. I just said when we are going across on the number grid, we count by ones. But when we go up and down on the number grid in the columns, what are we counting by, Jose?
Up and down.
When we go up and down on the number grid, what do we count by?
Tens.
Tens. So we can't just randomly fill in each block thinking it's going to be the next number. We have to see, are we going up and down or are we going across? And if you have the number grid in front of you, you can always use it as a reference. We also need to just start practicing it in our brain. So starting with the number 20, if I'm going down a box, am I going to go by 1 or am I going to go by 10, Levi?
We're going by ones.
If I'm going down a box, Levi, I'm going by tens. Okay?
Okay.
If I'm going down a box, I'm going to go by 10. So if I go 10 more than 20, 10 more than 20 is what? Jose?
30.
30, right. So here is the number 30 in the box. Now I'm still going up and down on my number grid. I have 20, 30. What should come next on my number grid if I'm going down in the column? Kaden? 40. Very good. Now I'm going across in my number grid. So if I'm going to go across in my number grid, Jake, what number is going to go in the box next to 40?
41.
41. Fantastic, Jake. Thank you. 41. When I go up and down, I go by tens. When I go across, I go by ones. All right, so keeping that in mind, if I have the number on the bottom of the number grid, I can still count by tens and count by ones. I just have to go backwards. Instead of going forwards, I'm counting backwards. So, if I'm going up and down, wait a minute, let me remember. If I'm going up and down on the number grid, Jamie, how much do I go by? If I go up and down on the number grid, I go by tens. If I'm going 10 less than 71, 10 less than 71 is going to be what, Angelina?
61.
61. So 61 goes in the box here. Then if I'm going 10 less than 61, Levi, what should I put in that box?
51.
51. Very good. Kaden, I do hope you're writing these answers down. And if I'm going 10 less than 51, Zayden, what should I put in the top box?
41.
41. Now I have that part filled in, okay? That's the tough part. Now comes the easy part. Now I'm going across. When I go across in the number grid, I count by what, Logan? Ones, right. So if I have 41 and I'm going one more, it should be what number, Jamie? 42. Very good. And then if I have 42 and I go one more, what number do I have, Gwen? 43. Okay? So make sure you have those numbers filled in on your number grid puzzle. Fantastico. All right. Moving right along. I'm going to click on slide number 6. Here we go. All right. Now, remember, I can listen to the directions. So here we go. I'm going to tap down here in the caption and listen to what I'm supposed to do for number 6. Here it comes.
6. Start at 110 and skip count by 5s. Circle your counts.
Okay, tell me in your words, what am I supposed to do? Logan, what am I supposed to do?
Skip count by 5.
Where do I start, Logan?
You start at 110.
110. I'm starting at 110 and I want to skip count by 5s. When I skip count by 5s, what am I supposed to do with each one of those numbers, Levi?
We skip count by 5, so
All right, we're going to skip count by 5s, and what am I supposed to do as I'm counting them?
You circled it.
I'm going to circle them. But because it's telling me to start at 110, I better circle 110, right? Because that's where it's telling me to start. That's the first part of the direction. Start at 110. Now, if I skip count by 5s, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, so on, so on, so on. If I'm starting at 110, what should be the next number if I'm skip counting by 5s? Gwen? 115. Very good. Circle it. I'm circling it in red so it stands out to you. 110, 115. If I count by 5s, what should be my next number, Jake? 120. Very good, buddy. 120. 110, 115, 120. If I'm skip counting by 5s, what should I circle next? Jose?
125.
125, 110, 115, 120, 125. Yanessa, what should be the last thing that I circle? Oops, I didn't. 130. Thank you. Fantastic. Did you circle all those, Kaden? All right. Okay. Now, moving right along. Believe it or not, we're almost done with the study guide. Study guide's not very long. Going on to number 7. Now, here we go. We have another written answer. But before we do the written answer part, let's see what we're supposed to do first. I'm going to listen to my directions here.
Question number 7. Up in the top right-hand corner, there is a box that shows you the symbols for less than, more than, and the same as or equal to. Question number 7, they want you to write less than, more than, or equal to for questions number A, B, C, and D. For question 7E, you need to explain how you knew which number was the greater number for problem 7D.
Oh, so there's a lot of parts to this. So what we need to do first is we need to compare the numbers using less than, greater than, or equal to, and then we have to explain how did we know in 7D that one of the numbers was greater or bigger than the other. Okay, so first of all, 7A, I'm comparing 19 to 7. Is 19 greater than, less than, or the same as 7? What do you think, Jamie? It is greater than, so 19 is greater than 7. Now, letter B. I'm comparing 25 cents to, what's this thing? The circle with the Q in it. Zayden, what's that thing?
A quarter.
A quarter. Zayden, how much is a quarter?
25.
25 cents. So I'm comparing 25 cents to a quarter, which also equals 25 cents. Zayden, do I want to say it's less than, greater than, or equal to?
Equal.
Equal. Very good. Fantastic.
Uh-oh.
Now they like to get a little tricky for letter C because they want to just throw some money in there so that we have to practice the money amount. So we need to figure out, first of all, what we're comparing. Because we're not going to have any idea what numbers we're comparing unless we figure out how much it is, right? So for the first row of coins, we have 2 dimes, 2 nickels, 2 pennies. Dimes are 10, nickels are 5, pennies are 1s. So I'm going to count by 10s first. 10, 20. Now I got to switch to 5s. 25, 30. Now I have to switch to 1s. 31, 32. So I'm going to just put that above here. I have 32 cents right here. 32 cents right here. Okay, so that I can remember what I just counted. I don't want to do all that counting and then waste my time and not have it. All right, so 32 cents. And on this side, I have a quarter and 2 nickels. Quarters, we just realized were 25 cents. Hopefully we remembered that. 25 cents. Nickels are 5 cents. So I got to start with my quarter first. 25. And then nickel is 5 more. 30. And then another nickel is 5 more. 35. So now I know I'm comparing 32 cents to 35 cents. So now I can go back and I can say 32 cents is less than, greater than, or equal to 35 cents. What do you think, Yanessa?
35 cents.
Okay, so is 32 cents less than, greater than, or equal to 35 cents?
35 is greater than.
So 32 is less than 35 cents. That's how we want to read that. 32 cents is less than 35 cents. Very good. And then last but not least, we're comparing 27 to 72. Is 27 less than, greater than, or equal to 72? Who wants to give that one a try? Levi.
It's 72.
Is 27 less than, greater than, or equal to 72?
Less than.
Less than, right. So we want to put the less than. Now, this is where we need to explain. And this is why we need to explain. Because you'll notice that in 27, there's a 2 and a 7. And in 72, there's a 2 and a 7, right?
Yeah.
But we just said that even though both numbers have a 2 and a 7, or both numbers have a 7 and a 2, that this one, 27, is smaller than this one, 72. How did I know that? How did I know that 27 was smaller than 72? Or did I just guess and hope that I had it correct? Because sometimes I do that. Sometimes I'm lucky. Sometimes I'm not, though. How did I know that 27 was less than or smaller than 72? Angelina, do you want to give it a try?
Because when you count by ones, 2 is less, it's 7's more. So whenever you put the 2 in front, it means it's less than.
You're on the right track. You are on the right track, but I don't want to count by ones when I have a 2 in a tens place. Because when I have a 2 in a tens place, I want to count by tens, okay? So you're on the right track, though. So 2 is smaller than 7. And when I have a 2 in the tens place, just like we did for our number of the day, look at that, we almost are at 27. But when I have 2 bunches of 10, I don't count these 1, 2, do I? I count these 10, 20. So if I have 2 in the tens place, I only have 20. If I have 7 in the tens place, then I must have how much? Any takers? If I have 7 tens, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. So if I have 7 tens, then I have 70 in the tens place, right? So, how did I know which number is greater for 7D? Because 2 tens equals 20, and 7 tens equals 70. 70 is greater than 20, or 20 is less than 70. So this is where we type our text tool, because this is a lot of words again. Okay? And I'm going to kind of drag it over here so that I can have it in the right spot to begin with. Let me get my little hand going here. Oh, I lost my text tool. Let me do it again here. Is it going to let me drag it yet? There we go. Okay. Oh, it disappeared again. I don't know why that keeps happening to me. So I will start typing it over here maybe. Oh, it did it again. All right. I'm just going to start typing it. Okay, so I'm going to type 2 tens equals 20. 7 tens equals 70. 20 is less than 70. Okay? That's how we knew whether or not, if we look at the number in the tens place, that's how we know whether or not 27 is bigger than 70. Let me make this fit in my box down at the bottom here. Maybe. There we go. Okay. 2 tens equal 20. 7 tens equals 70. 20 is less than 70. That would explain how I know why 27 is less than 72. Zayden, can you see it back there? Is it hard to see, buddy? Yes, it's hard to see, or yes, you can see it? Which one?
Yes.
Yes, you can see it, or yes, it is hard to see?
Hard.
Okay. Why don't you scoot your iPad up here a little bit then? Okay? And you can just stand by Derek's desk. You put your iPad on Derek's desk and just stand there so you can see the screen a little bit bigger, okay? Go ahead, Logan. Get this answer in. 2 tens equals 20. 7 tens equals 70. 20 is less than 70. Make sure we have all that part in because that's going to be one of the things we have to answer tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
On our test.
I don't like tests.
Oops, sorry.
Well, it's kind of good to have tests.
Jose, it's not a talking time. Just a typing time. When you get it typed, put it in the right place. We're almost done with it. Okay, you have part of it, but you don't have all of it. You have 2 tens equals 70. 2 tens does not equal 70. Okay, I want you to type the whole answer that's actually there. Okay? Not just part of the answer, all of the answer. I'll give you another minute or two to type this in, and then if you don't have it, that's fine. We can go back and put those answers in later. I want to make sure we have time to move on to 8 and 9. Two tens equals 20, 7 tens equals 70, 20 is less than 70. Okay, make sure it's up over your nose, please. Thank you. Good job. Nice. You can go ahead and tap on. You can go ahead and tap on slide 8. Okay, there's more to that though. Okay, so 7 tens is 7 tens is equal to 70. 20 is less than 70. Now you have all the percentages attached. Okay. All right, if you're still typing this, we will go back to it so you can get caught up with it in a little bit. So leave what you have on your screen. We can go back to it. We're going to actually go over to slide number 8. So you may have to scroll down a little bit in your slides. We'll go back to it. Okay. Number 8. Beth is playing fishing for 10. She has a 3 in her hand. What card should she fish for? And we're going to complete the number model to show her total after she gets the card she fished for. Now, we did not have an opportunity to play fishing for 10 because it was a card game that we are not able to do with partners. But the whole idea of playing fishing for 10 is actually making 10s And we have practiced making combinations of 10. So if Beth has a 3 in her hand, just like we have down here at the bottom in the problem, if Beth has a 3, what number should she add to that 3 to make it equal 10? 3 plus what equals 10? Let me stick person it. Logan, 3 plus what equals 10?
8.
Not 3 plus 8. Let me see if another stick person can tell me. Levi, 3 plus what equals 10?
3 plus 7.
7. 3 plus 7 equals 10. So I actually wrote it down at the bottom, but I'm also going to write it up here. She should fish for a 7, or she should want a 7, because 3 plus 7 equals 10. Now, I could start at 10 and I could start at 3 and count up till I get to 10, or I can start at 10 and I can count back 3 till I get to 7 to figure out whether or not my answer is correct. So if I start at 10 and I count back 3, 9, 8, 7, I should land on 7. Or if I start at 3 and I count up to 10, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I should have counted 7. And it's hard to tell because I have my pen in my hand. Okay? Either way, I should have 7. And then last but not least, number 9. For number 9, I need to, first of all, count how many blocks I have, and then I have to decide if it's odd or even. I have 9A and 9B. So how many blocks do I have in 9A? Any takers? Any takers? Have a cool stick? Ooh, Alina. How many blocks do I have in 9A?
5.
I have 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, Alina, would you like to make a guess? Is 5 even or odd?
Odd.
Odd. Very good. So I want to put the number 5 and then I want to write odd. And I can tell right away just by looking at it that it's an odd number because, look, you have one of these blocks just standing by itself, right? And when you have one all by itself, you have that odd man out, then it is an odd number. Now, what about B? How many blocks do I have for 9B? Yeah, Nessa, how many blocks do I have for 9B? 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I do have 10. Now, Yanessa, do you feel brave? Do you want to guess if it's even or odd?
Yeah.
Okay, what is it?
Even.
It is an even number. Very good. And I can tell right away just by looking at it it's going to be even because all of my blocks are in twos or are in pairs. If I can count to it getting by twos, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, then I know I have an even number. Okay, now, if you're still typing an answer, like I know some of you are, you're not going to do this step next. But if you are all done typing your answers, then you are going to tap draft. Because draft will save it for you so that you can look at it later. If you still are typing, I don't want you to tap draft yet. I want to make sure you have all your answers in first before you tap draft. But this way, by tapping the orange checky check mark up here, it will allow it to sit in your seesaw so that when you go home tonight, you can open it back up. You can look through it so it stays in your brain before you tap the green check to send it to me. I will know that you have looked through it after school once I see that you've tapped the green check and it comes back to me. Okay? Now, I may send it back to you if I see that you sent it to me and there's some answers that are blank. So I'm hoping that you have all the answers filled in here before you even send it to me at home, okay? If you haven't done it yet, then you will be able to go back and get it done. We still have a little time in here, so those friends that are still typing answers, we're going to go back and work on that part before you do that. Friends at home, if you didn't have a chance to finish the study guide with me right now, make sure you get on Seesaw and finish the study guide on your Seesaw, and then check it over, save it as a draft, check it over again tonight before you send it to me as part of your homework, okay? And then go on to extra math today. Make sure you do one extra math lesson. Friends at home, do you have any questions before we say scoodle doodles? No questions? Okay. I will see you later then, friends at home. I'll see you later for a closing circle. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Goodbye, Jake. Okay. Now, friends here, I want to make sure, I know Valerie and Angelina, you were pretty good to go. Zayden, I know yours was pretty good to go. Gwen, I want to just double check yours because I don't think I looked at all of it. I want to check the rest of yours before we look at what answers need to be done. I'm going to go back to this number 7 one, though. This was the one that had a lot that still needed to type in, okay? So go back to number 7. So Angelina and Valerie and Zayden, tap the draft on yours if you haven't done that already, okay? I want to see yours, please. Oh.
It takes a couple tries.
Okay, you shouldn't have a fingerprint as an ID. So let's go. Get yourself logged into your iPad. I want to see your study guide, please. You should not have tapped anything on it yet, so it should still be in your seesaw. Okay, let me just double check, make sure. What was the other one? This one. Okay. All right, tap the draft then, so you can save it for later. I will check yours right now. Okay, let me check to see what the other one was. Okay, tap your draft button so that you can save it for later.
Okay, draft it. Wait, this is long.
Okay, leave it as a draft in your seesaw.
I did.
Okay, let's make sure we have this one done first. Okay, that one. Okay, so I'll go back to this one in just a second once I see that everybody else is done with number 7. Okay, tap your draft button.
But first I'm seeing if I did the.
You should have. Okay, 2 tenths does not equal 20 or 70. So let's go back and make sure that we're typing in what's actually there. You're right up front, so there's no reason why you can't see everything that's right there in front of you. 2 tenths equals what? What does 2 tenths equal, or Kaden? No, doesn't that equal 27? 2 tenths equals, what's this number? 20, and then there's a period, so that's the end of that sentence. So let's go, fix it. Here, I'll go back to this one with you. Okay, I started at 0, then I. So let's keep typing I. Okay, space. Counted, C-O-U. N. T. E-D. Space. The. How do you spell the word the? Good. Space. Blank. B-L. B like boy. L. A. N. K. Space. Lines. L. I. N. E. S. Space. The word two. Space. And then the number 5. You can tap your number button. There you go. Number 5. And then there's your period. Okay. Now let's just double check. We're going to drag this down and put it here a little bit. Oops. lock it into place. All right. Let's just make sure we have all of our other stuff. 1, 2, 3. Oops. Oh, I keep shifting them. Okay. All right. Tap your draft button. Save it for later. All right. There we go. Now you have it. All right. Let's make sure we have an answer for everything. How much should she fish for? If she has a 3, how much should she fish for? Kaden, it's right in front of you, dude. How much should she fish? Yeah. That's like the easiest answer, dude. It's right there. Focus, focus, focus. Okay, tap the draft button. Nope, not the green check, the draft. Okay. Okay. Ooh, I do not want to start spring math right now. We will not have time to get it finished before we have lunch. So we will do spring math after quiet time like we did yesterday. So what I want you to do right now is you can park your iPad in the chair, in the pocket in the back of your chair. You know what? We might as well get our hands washed and everything right now for lunch so that we don't have to wait for everybody else. And then we'll do some Go Noodle while we're waiting. Okay? So let's do Jamie and Logan, go wash your hands and everything. Get yourself ready for lunch. And let's do Angelina and Gwen, go wash your hands and get ready for lunch. Huh? Oh, okay. Levi, what did I tell you to do with your iPad? Let's make sure we're following directions the first time they're given, please. I'm going to put this as a draft. Save it for myself for later. Draft.
No, I'm just tired.
Do you have a headache or anything?
No, I'm just
No?
tired.
Just tired? Okay. Maybe you'll wake up after you eat some lunch.
Wake up after lunch?
Oh my goodness, it's taking forever to load.
Wake up after recess.
It says I'm not connected to the internet. Oh,